Okay, so here we go. We're going to do the update for the finding the listings and modifying them for your Amazon upload. This is a project that has to be used in the Chrome browser, so make sure that you have that up and running. It's probably a good idea to have a spreadsheet open right now so that as I go through this, you can follow along and do the activity so that you get a run through and just get the whole system down, and you can pause and such and make sure things happen properly. So we're going to focus here on the Amazon app right now. It's very similar to the Shopify. It's simply a matter of upload at the end that changes. But really it's just getting the UPCs formatted properly to initially. So just log into your Amazon seller app. Once it's open, obviously you can get your manifest open as well. So if you haven't done that yet, please stop and do that. We're not going to focus on the color coding at this moment. So to the UPC issue, now when it shows up something like this, you're going to see, obviously this is not a UPC number. UPCs are generally 12 to 13 numbers long. This is in scientific mode. That's going to cause a huge issue that we have to rectify before we can do any uploads. So essentially what you're going to end up doing, and I'll do a quick run through. This is the written version, obviously, but we'll get into a feed here quick, and I will show you exactly how to modify this. So as you can see here, this is exactly what we had there. The issue with that is when you can see, like right here, when I expand that column, it ends up bringing the number into what would be considered general. However, that number is not going to work. So the first thing I want to do is delete those the column headers. Now when you're working with something like this where it's just an ASIN and a UPC, you can delete the header. It's not that big a deal. If you're working with a larger spreadsheet that say has that comes down as a data feed and it's got the entire row across, just delete the UPC number. So in order to get this into the proper terms, we can even flip this over here to number and get general numbers, but we can see that these things are going to error out. These are most likely not going to be UPC matches where that looks like a legit number. However, it's what, 3, 6, 9, 11. It's 1 digit short. There's supposed to be a leading 0 here. You put a 0 in there, nothing happens. So we need to get this turned into text. It's going to be the most important thing that happens here. So select your first row. Here's your formula. Has to be typed in. And if it doesn't work properly, you'll know immediately. So essentially, and it shows you here exactly what this is: equals text, open parenthesis, the cell that you're working in, comma, open parenthesis, or open, yeah, that thing, parenthesis, 12 zeros, quote, I'm sorry, it's a quotation, close quote, close parenthesis. So you can see that there's your first parenthesis and your second. You need both of them to close the formula appropriately. So if you come in here, you hit text, comma, open parenthesis, select your target, comma, open, quote, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, quote, close parenthesis. That should be correct. And it is. So you just come over here, you hover until you get the crosshair, double click, copies the entire formula down. So I guess that one was correct, but you can see the leading zeros are now added. Now, unfortunately, if you take that out now, there's nothing there. So what we need to do now is change this. You need to copy that column, paste special, values, so now it's going to be saved as a text. So now if I come up here and delete that, the value stays exactly how it's supposed to. So now as long as we don't come back here and cover it, see when you end up saving this as a CSV file, which you can't see on that screen, let me bring that down, save it as a CSV file, you'll end up truncating this and it'll turn it back into scientific, which obviously that's what we just wanted to fix. So come up here, we'll now delete that cell. Now this is ready for upload. Now if you were working with a different program, or you wanted to copy paste it, whatever, these values are now these values. This is the number. So if you wanted to, you can come back in here, you can reinsert your ASIN and your UPC. Depends on what you're doing. If you're uploading it to Ecom Elite, which is something that we'll talk about later, headers aren't required or even recommended. But if you do want to rename this particular column, you certainly can. So you're going to save that, and this is where the issue might come in, where you save it as a UPC file, and it typically pops up a little warning message saying that you're going to lose some data, so that if this B column is truncated, that's where you're going to end up losing your data. So immediately after you get done doing something like that, if you're going to do an upload, go upload it right away. And that's essentially what you have to do there. So now you've got your UPC number correct in that file. Depending on where you're going to go from here, whether it's going into manage inventory, if you're going to check and make sure that it's not currently listed, if you're doing an ASIN UPC mismatch check, pricing, whatever it happens to be, you can just follow along with the rest of this program here to determine where you're going to be at. So obviously you'd want to ensure that all of the listings that you might be uploading are going to be accurate at this point. So continue to scroll down here. The rest of this walkthrough is pretty self-explanatory, and that's pretty much it for this video. So much appreciated. If you have any questions, please feel free to email me right away. Thank you.